Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. The Tasmanian Government will invest about 9.5 million Australian dollars to restart a copper mine which was shuttered at the start of 2014. Martin Creamer tells us more. Welcome, Martin.
Thanks, Sashnee.
Can you tell us about the mine that the Tasmanian Government is investing in?
Yeah, this is the Copper Mines of Tasmania, and it's a 120-year-old plus operation that has been on care and maintenance for the last 2.5 years. And the government of Tasmania is keen on restarting this mine. So it's actually put its money where its mouth is and said, look, this is 9.5 million Australian dollars. This can help to accelerate the restart, because Vedanta, which is the group that owns the CMT, Copper Mines Tasmania, has not really taken a decision on the restarting yet. They'll only take that decision by the end of the year. But this pre-start decision has been taken, and I'm sure the government assumes that no matter what happens there, this particular upgrading of the infrastructure around the mine and certain mine infrastructure needs to be done anyway, and they are prepared to fund that in order to accelerate this, in the hope that as the copper price rises, and we can see it firming up, that the economy of Tasmania, which is south of Australia, an island south of Australia, will benefit. So they are doing something to accelerate it, really.
Vedanta's Sashnee recently met with the Tasmanian Government. What was the outcome of that?
Yeah, and it's interesting to see the way they met. Sashnee, who's a South African born and bred, but works now for Vedanta. So she's the CEO of Vedanta Zinc International and CMT. So she is now looking at the restart of that mine. And the pictures I've seen, you can see that they're working together on this. It's a collective. The Premier of the state of Tasmania and the Minister of Mines, or its Resources Minister, they're going around together with the people of the mine to see how they can work fast to get this thing going. And it shows you a great determination on the part of the government to make sure that there's economic spin-off from the restart of this mine, which could employ hundreds of people if it gets going again. And even on this money that has been invested now by the government, it'll employ 50 to 60 people on getting that infrastructure in place.
How do these efforts by the Tasmanian Government compare with that of South Africa?
Yes, now this is a very interesting thing, because here we see the government of Tasmania rolling out the red carpet. In South Africa, we see the government and the Department of Mineral Resources in South Africa rolling out the red tape. The red tape gets us all caught and nothing happens, but the red carpet will probably accelerate the development of this mine in Tasmania, which is very important to the people there, and its closure is a negative. So they're trying to turn this into a positive, and when they do it, they're probably going to modernize it as well, make sure that they have less emissions, and the word green is being imposed on it, possibly using electrical vehicles there rather than diesel-powered vehicles. So progress is being made, but at the same time you can see the determination of the government to do everything it can to make sure that it can help Vedanta, which is an India-rooted company but London-listed company, get this off the ground as fast as possible. And you can see they may even cut 6 months off, but Vedanta is saying, look, they need time to study this up before they take a decision to restart, and that decision should be taken by the end of the year.
Vedanta has expressed interest in more African investment in general and more South African investment in particular. Yeah,
well, it's an interesting company. Several years ago, they bought the zinc assets of Anglo-American, South African Anglo-American. Anglo at that stage decided they were going to dispose of their zinc assets in the Northern Cape and in Ireland, and Vedanta bought those assets. Now we see that they have depleted the asset in Ireland, and they are now developing Gamsberg in South Africa, so they're investing there. And that Gamsberg is a project that's 40 years in the making. We know that Anglo-American couldn't get going, although they wanted to, and the previous owners, Goldfields, also couldn't get it going. We see Vedanta getting it going. In fact, they paid off the amount that they bought those assets for very rapidly, because they quickly did things that created a return on the existing state of the assets, Black Mountain. And so now they are looking to building this new zinc mine at a time when you can see the zinc price is firming. So that is going to be a benefit to them. It's a nice background in which to do that, because people are saying, although the zinc price might not rise that much higher, it's probably not going to fall either, and that's also good in a commodity cycle. We also have, the chairperson of Vedanta also being the chairperson of a family company that has bought into Anglo American now, bought 11% and more of the shares of Anglo American on the London Stock Exchange. So interesting that they are positioning themselves there. And also we've seen them show an interest in Africa, visit Africa. They've also got copper mining activities in Zambia. They speak of Africa being underexplored. So they're keen on doing things in Africa. It'll be interesting to see what role they play. You can see that they are keen parties wanting to get an investment in Anglo, but saying they're not really ready to take over Anglo as such. But their positioning is interesting to be able to observe, what is available. And the state of the mining market is in flux, and we wonder how it's going to end up. And they could be one of the players. And we've seen that their conscientiousness of the investment in Northern Cape at Gamsberg and in Black Mountain has benefited the people. They've also got an employee share ownership plan there. They've been doing health work in the community. So I think they're serious about making sure that they float all the boats. And I think the experience in India gives them a good background in that. They seem to be a generous company that reaches out to the community, tries to benefit a broader base in the way they work. So it's going to be interesting to see the final outcome, but the state of the market indicates that there's likely to be some changes in the future.
Thanks for speaking with us, Mark.
It's a great pleasure, Sashnee.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news and analysis on South Africa's mining industry.